Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you a new build that I think I got just about done right now. I hope to try it a little bit later today, shooting up some Xerax POIs and things like that, and it's kind of what it's made for. So this is the Dagger MTX. It's a little personal tank. Like it's really small. It doesn't have a lot of room in it at all, and it's very focused on just doing tank things. It doesn't really have any other utility function at all on it. It is built of steel and hardened steel. It does have some hardened steel in certain areas. It's trying to be a little bit like a combination between the Scorpion AT over here, the MCRN Scorpion, and the Paladin M3. Well, it's not really much like the Paladin M3. It's a little more like this one. Essentially speaking, when I was building this tank a long time ago, I was focusing on the front area here, and I wanted to put out stuff for the AI to shoot at without taking any like hull damage or anything like that. So basically, I pushed all the main parts, or most of the main parts, back beyond this, the whole front of the vehicle. Like it goes here, and then it has this wall, and then it actually gets back into the tank, back over here, which has a little bit of interior space. This one's kind of doing the same approach. It's just smaller. So there's nothing actually going on in the front here. It does have a spotlight. It will get into some of the hover engines kind of close to the front, but that's just, you know, the front set there. We'll see how they do. And so basically, the best block is not to be there, and that's kind of what this one's trying to be. As in the hull material, of course, I would love to use heavier and stronger materials, but I can't move things very well doing that. So again, steel mostly, except for some hardened steel blocks in select areas on the front. But the whole point is you could pretty much lose the front side of the tank and be okay. All your main parts, generators, CPU core blocks, shield parts, and things are in the back area. I'll show you the little bit of interior space that it has in a second here. But my current weapon loadout is 4 positron turrets up front to help, to take the shields down. And then it has 3 rocket turrets, and then it has 4 fixed rocket launchers on here. A little bit different weapon loadout setup, and I just thought I'd try it, see how that works out. The reason why I've got rocket turrets back over here, rocket launchers back over here instead of some other kind of weapon has a lot to do with I didn't want to have too many ammo types. Basically, you're going to need one type of ammo for the positrons and another type for all the rockets on here. So that's pretty much what it does. And I don't know how this is going to do. I don't know if it's going to have enough shield takedown to it with the 4 positron turrets. I guess it depends on the POI and how big of a shield it has. It might be better served as being in a unit with another tank or something like that, and we'll see how that goes. Again, a bit experimental there. And again, with these, I'll have to see how these work out as well. So when I set this up too with the hover engines on their placement too, I try to give the front of this just a little bit of a little bit more lift than what the back has. And I did that on purpose so it would get over the terrain better and things like that. And it seems to actually be working. It's really hard to tell because the ground here is totally not level. But if it was on level ground and zeroed out, essentially, you notice that the front will float up just a little bit. A very small amount, though. And I kind of like that because when you're approaching cliffs or obstacles, you'll leap over them a little bit easier, and it's also a little bit easier to aim upward with the fixed weaponry. Let me show you the backside and the interior here real quick, and I'll take it around a bit here. Other than that, yeah, backside pretty typical. It's just running 6 of these 1x3 thrusters. I didn't go with the bigger model that is available in RE, which I did use on the other tanks. And I didn't do that because I was thinking, well, if we go into Reforged 2 and you can upgrade these thrusters, I don't know if those of this other part or these larger thrusters that I have in this one here are going to be available for that or not. So I don't know. So what I did focus a lot on this tank with is shielding, though. So when you get in, it's really small, right? It's only a 3 block tall area that you walk in, and then you hop right up to your first-person armored cockpit up there, right? And that's the only cockpit on here. Then you have a 10K ammo storage bay here. And then just kind of wrapped around the sides here, there is your CPU core blocks to bring it to a Core 9 and a whole lot of shield parts, some chargers and capacitors. So hopefully I got the mix right there too. I try to go a little bit heavy on the shield side and not super heavy on the charging side. And I'll have to see how it all plays out. But essentially looking at some specs here. First, motion-wise, not super great, but it's not awful either. It's somewhere in the middle. So 24 forward, 16 strafing, 16 reverse. Obviously, it doesn't go up and down. It's got 4 fuel tanks in here, 4 oxygen tanks. I'll show you a couple other weird things about it. Only a size class 1 on this one, 3 hour and 24-minute build time. It does require a little bit of estrium and zacosium, mainly for the weaponry and probably maybe the shield parts. But other than that, it's a fairly low-cost tank, pretty stripped down on features. If we take a look at the CPU on here, I've got like a smidgen more CPU I could put in here, like about 1500 some, which would be kind of neat. But and I thought, I wouldn't mind having like an O2 bay or a trauma station in here, but I have yet to figure out where I'm going to put any of that stuff. So that's kind of the problem. I did the fuel tanks a little bit differently. I kind of got them kind of on the side outer skirting here, kind of where this area is. And I did put some armored glass on the inside to see, if they did get hit and you lose like a section of fuel tanks, it would maybe not blast into the interior. But again, I don't know. The blocks aren't super strong on these, and it's hard to exactly know what's going to happen with that. But it's mostly shield dependent. As in its shield, it is running 3870 for shield. It does charge fine. It's running 4 1x3 generators in here. It does have a spotlight. That's its big major feature. But that is really about the whole thing. I've taken this around a little bit. Obviously, you can drive this around in first person here. Or third person, but it does all right. The strafing on it is okay. I mean, none of the specs are awesome, but I think maybe, for its relatively low cost for a type of Core 9 tank like this, maybe it'll do okay. One thing that I thought was kind of neat is, and I'm sure most tanks would do this too, but like if I was targeting up here, let me get the HUD on. If I was targeting like that turret up there, I can actually hold and aim pretty good with this. And I probably could with some other tanks too. I'm sure it's not a big thing like that, but it's just I wanted to make sure that, because it does have fixed weapons on here, some fixed weapons, I wanted to make sure that I could actually use them to target like turrets, more precisely with those weapons. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out, but I'll try it out today, and it might need some modifications. I know I'm missing some textures. I didn't put a LCD over the ammo box and little details like that yet. But if all goes well, I'll try to get this to the workshop probably this weekend or something like that. I just wanted to kind of go over it. I know I'm missing some textures around, like, on this side here, I forgot to texture the underneath the this area, basically. And I was having a little bit of fun with the hover engines on here too. I try to make them kind of look like they're in wheel wells, but they're hover engines, and I try to make them look like hover engines and not wheels and stuff like that. So this is kind of what the bottom side looks like. Oh yeah, one last unique weird thing about this tank is the main core I put. There's this little access door on the bottom side, and that goes into the main core, which I got a texture around there yet too. And if you float into the hull here, you see that the front area is kind of filled in with a lot of blocks. I did put the oxygen tanks here due to lack of space in the back area, but they don't go explode. So that's all right. So it's kind of thicker in this area, and it's got a little bit of hardened steel blocks in the general area as well. But I figure if you're duking it out with a POI and you let your shield go down and you're taking a bunch of damage up here and getting this area blown up, this is kind of like the cutoff point. It's right before it gets into the interior to start causing you more expensive part damages and things like that. So basically, if too much of this gets blasted away, it will shut down the tank. But at that point in time, I think you could try to salvage the tank and keep most of the main parts intact and not actually have a extremely expensive repair cost on it. That's just kind of a concept thing. Again, it was another problem too where I had trouble trying to figure out where I was going to put the core on here. I didn't, it's just weird. It's just so little room in the tank due to its kind of small size and things like that. Like these other tanks over here are both quite a lot bigger than what this one is here. So, and also one other thing that I'm not liking a whole lot right now is the fact that I literally don't even have room to stick in. I guess I kind of do if I really want to put it in a bad spot, but that's to add a passenger seat. It doesn't even have a passenger seat. Of course, I wouldn't mind having a clone chamber, a trauma station, passenger seat, maybe even a fridge. But literally, I'm trying to keep the room open and very dedicated to being just one thing and not trying to do much else. It has no other storage other than this ammo controller at 10K either. Pentax tank's right above there. So yeah, everything I think is going to work out pretty good. Again, I can't speak of how effective it's going to be yet. I guess we'll find that out, see if it's a worthwhile build or not yet. If it does check out where it seems to be relatively all right, then I will get it to the workshop probably this weekend, and it'll be the Dagger MTX. The name I picked too, I didn't really know what to call it, and Dagger doesn't sound as significant. I didn't want this to be like, this isn't like some colossal endgame tank or anything like that. It's just kind of like your early mid-game kind of thing, and you want to shoot up some POIs, and you want to use an HV to do it, kind of thing. So personal HV, like a personal pan pizza or something like that. So that's kind of what's going on there. But other than that, the only other thing that I did do, now keep in mind I haven't been building a whole lot as of late. A couple reasons for that. A primary reason is I kind of did something, I tweaked my back, but good. And sitting in a computer chair is, especially when I get up after I've been sitting for a while, is just causing me more and more issues. So I haven't been on the computer as much in general. So of course, I haven't been building. I didn't do I didn't do like any other special videos last week either. I did work on this Kriel POI some more, but this is going to be a long time in coming on this, and I wanted to work on some other things as well. But I started this out, and I kind of worked out this this chunk of the POI over on this one side, and keep in mind there's more chunks of it. So I got this kind of squared away. Not seeing the floor right now because I got it sticking through the ground a little bit there, but there's kind of a course that it's getting built up on where you can kind of run up. It kind of loops around here several times, and there'll be some dudes to shoot. I got to get some more bad guys in these upper levels here, and it finally gets up into like this room and kind of curls around again. This is probably going to be the main entrance of the POI. I'll shut off the other entrances. I don't want multiple ways to get in here. And it's kind of set up for that right now, but I don't think that'll work out very good if you're going to follow a course to go through the POI. So once you get through all this and whatever bad guys are going to be there, or turrets or whatever, then you finally get into the other section that I started working on a long time ago. It kind of gets up into the main hall area. And there's a lot of, this actually gets up into like some other areas. This thing's deceiving. It's got a lot of weird space in it, and kind of a lot of rooms and areas to go through. And this is all on just one side of the creation yet. And there's actually an upper floor and a lower floor down over here, and it goes off to some other areas. So it's going to take a long time to get this whole thing finished up. And as you can see, it goes all the way around here, and then it'll eventually probably end somewhere on the other side of it. So it's going to be a course that's going to lead you kind of through the whole thing, and then down over here. There'll be a couple of side rooms and things like that along the way. Hopefully it'll be a fun POI, and that's the goal. I just want it to be fun. Semi-challenging on this one. But fun factor is definitely the most important thing on any of these kinds of things. So I'm not going to try to make it ridiculously annoying or hard or anything like that. But I do want it to be generally difficult. I think it is the largest of the Kriel POIs. But again, it's going to take some more time to get this thing done. And even that area that I worked on over here, this is probably a few hours just messing with this room section here, trying to get this ready. So by the time I go through the whole rest of this thing and build it all out and whatnot, it's going to take a while. And then there's the whole testing aspect of it beyond that, which takes even longer. So I did want to get it done, though. I always kind of like the build. It's one of those big projects that it'll just take a while to get done. Other than that is all I've got for today. Let me know what you think of this new tank. See if you guys think it'll be all right or not. Again, it wasn't trying to be like some powerhouse super tank or anything like that. And it's basically doesn't have any use right now for quantum or auxiliary cores. And the whole reason I left these spots over on the side and didn't fill this in with stuff is, first, I wanted to give players access to all the parts. But second, if you did want to lay down some quantum or auxiliary cores or something in here, you do have some room on the interior to do that with. It's just I couldn't make it all pretty very much because, there's just no room. There just really isn't any room in here. And it needs a little bit more texturing and stuff going on too. So it's texturings are weak and it's missing some textures, but this was a fairly quick build, I gotta say. Other than that, y'all have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you later.